Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like. We appreciate it.
Podcast below in the description as well.
Also below, wineaccess.com/ham. We
Yep.
appreciate their support of this video.
20% off, baby. 20% off.
Satisfaction guaranteed. All right, John, how about this from Jeff Darlington? He said on ESPN about Tim Tebow, there is serious disagreement within the building about the idea of Urban Meyer signing Tim Tebow. There are coaches on that staff who don't want to see it happen. Remember, the report was he's going to sign, technically had not signed as of this moment. And there are a lot of people that don't want to see it happen. Some people in the Jags organization, a lot of people just in the the cover of the league that think it's weird. Hasn't played football in 5 years?
8.
That's more than 5, John. That's closer to 10 than it is to 5. We're early in the Urban Meyer, Trent Baalke era. If he signs Tim Tebow and Tim Tebow turns out to be an NFL tight end, then great. They'll be able to say we told you so. But the odds are stacked against guys who haven't been in the league switching to new positions 8 years after they played and being successful. And this feels to me just like an early test for Urban. Urban, are you all in on being an NFL coach and just doing all the things that NFL coaches do that are focused singularly on winning NFL games? Or is this going to be what it has been in the past for some college to the NFL guys, which is some recapturing of something else that worked once at another level a decade ago? I don't know what Urban's going to do, but it would be a red flag to me on Urban Meyer if he signs Tim Tebow to play tight end.
What did who's the ESPN guy that covers golf? Hunter Thompson. When he said Hunter S. Thompson.
No, Hunter S. Thompson's a famous writer. Wright Thompson.
Wright Thompson. When he did his thing on Tiger Woods and said he captured a moment when we were young once only, kind of like a throwback when he won the Masters, talking about way back in the day. Like you said, the Tebow thing isn't just him and Urban old. I mean, you're talking about recapturing something that happened in 08, 09, 07, like that range, back before Nick Saban had won anything at Alabama. Like, that's a long time ago. My overall take on this is strictly who gives a shit, like just in the sense of whether they sign him or like if they sign him, I don't think it's that big a deal. Like part of signing a 90-man roster is the majority of the guys are not going to make the team. And really, I'd say 20 guys have zero shot. I know everyone's like, we want to only bring in guys that have a chance to help us win. That's what they say when they get in front of the net. That's just not true. Like, to me, he's worked out. I think it was last week they put him through like a personal workout, like anyone would. I don't even think it would be that crazy if he had worked out for countless teams. Like he said, I'm going to play tight end. Would someone work me out? I think people would work him out. Even if you sign him, like some of the takes I've seen is like, what's that going to do to the Jags locker room? Like it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Like the Jags locker room, who cares? And ultimately, Urban, do you know who he cares the most about? Is his quarterback, who's not Tebow, is Trevor Lawrence. Like that's who he's all in on. It doesn't bother me that much to give the guy a look. Now, if it was clear, like in practice, like Tebow doesn't have to do special teams, Tebow doesn't have to do this, I'd be like, this is pretty stupid. But if he was just operating no different than an undrafted free agent, you're not giving him any money. It's weird in the sense that who signs a 33-year-old guy that's never played a position. But I think we can all agree he's kind of a unique player, body type. I don't think it's as outrageous as people are making it out to be. Because I don't think it impacts anything. Like, you need just some bodies out there. Who else? Who are you signing right now that's taking a spot?
You need like NFL bodies out there, and he maybe is an NFL body. It's been a while since he was an NFL player. I mean, he's been a minor league baseball body. That's what he's been, right? Now, maybe he's in great shape. Like you said, they did work out.
You see him on the SEC network. He's pretty jacked.
That's a suit body on the SEC network. It's not like I'd want to go play in the spring league. Now, you could argue why he doesn't have to go play in the spring league. An NFL team's going to sign him. Would any other NFL team consider this?
Probably not.
I mean, we don't know the answer to that.
But I don't think he's interested in playing for anyone else. I mean, that's part of the deal. Because one of the things he was always adamant that he would never. Remember, people asked him to do this, and he never would.
Yeah, I do.
And you had a take, if I remember correctly, within the last couple months, like he was proven right? He wanted to play quarterback, and he refused to do that. And then ultimately he played baseball, and it kind of worked out. Like he got a shot with a real organization a lot farther than a lot of guys that played college baseball who were probably better than him. But back to the football part, like what does it really impact if they bring him in for training camp? Honestly.
Well, I don't think it
Besides just
impacts
media
anything.
coverage.
Yeah, I don't think it impacts anything in training camp. But the question is, does he have a chance in hell of helping the team?
You wouldn't know until you brought him in.
If he does, then Urban's right. And Urban gets to say to all the people internally, not directly say to them, but Urban earns credit if he's right on this. Urban gets credit if he's right on this. If it's a joke, then Urban, to me, it's not a zero loss for Urban. It's kind of a loss for Urban if he does sign him and it's clear immediately he doesn't belong in the group with like the fifth string tight end who's caught 8 passes in 7 years or whoever that guy is, right? Whose job it only is to block. Like, I don't think there is zero to lose here for Urban, just in terms of like how seriously we take this. Now, there's a little to gain, and there is a scenario where there is nothing to lose. Like, I think if we
What if you're not paying him anything? So like you could cut him at any day.
I'm not talking about losing money. I'm just talking about if Urban's players watch Tebow roll out there and clearly not belong, it just kind of changes the way, to me, a little bit Urban's viewed in the building. Just a little. Like, I'll just tell you this. Me right now, if I was there and I watched it and was like, oh my God, he does not belong out here, I would change how bullish, as someone who was very bullish on Urban before they hired him, I wouldn't go, oh my God, I'm out on Urban, but I would go, all right, we're just, all these little decisions over the course of several years is what ultimately get coaches extensions or get them fired. And this would go, in my mind, I'd go, well, this wasn't even close. That's all. I'm with you. It's not a big thing, but I don't think it's nothing if ultimately this guy's on the team trying to play tight end. Now, to your point, if Brian Flores did this, maybe let's not even use a team in Miami. Let's just say Kevin Stefanski. The Browns did it. Probably would be less of a thing, right? But it just feels like Urban's only doing it because he knows the guy, which might be the only reason Urban's doing it. A lot of people only do things for people they know and like. But
it happens in the NFL pretty consistently, right? Signing players year round. Now I'm with you. If he was just signing a player at Ohio State who was like 23, or even a guy that had played for him at Florida who had been in the league, I don't even think it'd be a story, right? The headline would be Urban signs so-and-so that played for him at Florida who'd been on 6 teams in the last 10 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The story of this is he hasn't played in the NFL.
Yeah.
At this position.
Right.
I mean, it's an outrageous. I've said before, I think it would be if he were to make the team. Again, he has to sign first. If he signed, made the team as a tight end, I think it'd be and I said this on the podcast, most incredible athletic accomplishment of his career. It's at 34 years old. I think he's gonna be 34. It'd be incredible at tight end. To me, he's not that fast. That's an underrated part. Can he catch? Only you would know if you worked him out.
Can he block?
He is a. Well, I mean, a lot of tight ends now are kind of H-backs, kind of hybrid, like in the slot guys. But is he fluid enough? Yeah, I don't know.
Gonna be?
I'm not betting on him making the team. I do see your point of, because I diminish their locker room. Like, I don't care. But ultimately, the locker room is his locker room. So, like, for him to be successful, he needs the guys to buy in. It is a little weird. It is probably unneeded. Like, is he doing his guy a favor? And I think the pushback would be like, favors for non-NFL players go out the window once you're in the big leagues, kind of type deal, right? Like, you've done him a favor. Like, you changed his life in a good way already.
It was a mutually beneficial partnership. Yeah. Before.
Because clearly Tebow, if he wants to do this, right, he's pushing Urban, and maybe Urban feels obligated, and these guys are pushing him. I guess my ultimate stance on this, it's just a unique set of circumstances. Like, this couldn't really happen with any other person, right?
Yeah. No, and that's part of it. That's always been kind of the criticism with Tebow, and I've defended Tebow, right? Oh, you only want to play. You'll play football, but only if you can play quarterback. And my reaction to that is, yeah, I want to be a quarterback. So then he played baseball. People gave him shit. I was impressed with him. First of all, I think if all of us had like 50% of Tim Tebow's confidence, imagine what the world could accomplish.
Incredible opposite field power. Every home run I ever saw went the opposite field. Maybe because he can't turn on a fastball, but he had opposite field power, guy.
He belonged where he belonged. Like, baseball people get mad sometimes he was taking somebody's spot. But again, what I would say to that is there's like 900 baseball leagues, okay? He's not taking the spot of a future all-star, let alone a future big leaguer, in all likelihood, when he was playing low-level minor league baseball. And those are good baseball players. This one again,
much,
it's like so
much
Tebow,
more impactful if you get a 90-man spot because
on
a bad team, it's easy to make a team.
But to your point, if he gets if he's on the roster, you have to earn it. Now, if he makes the roster and people are like, this guy does not belong out here, then it's it's a real story, and that would be insane. My question is, do we get to camp and people think he's like Garth Brooks in the batting cage with the Padres, or do people think like, yeah, I mean, he's not making the team, but actually this wasn't as crazy as we thought. He can kind of hang. He's just not as good. Maybe if he has another year to prepare, I don't know. Like, that's my question. Because if the reaction is this is crazy, like we're seeing it, he does not belong out here with the fifth string tight end. That's a reflection of Urban's judgment. It's not
true, but is it your thing always? Like, once you go all in on whoever, Urban, the coach, the GM, you got to let him do his thing. So isn't this? This is part of the package here.
Absolutely.
I mean,
this is
like let's see what he's got. Right.
Yeah,
sometimes that guy, Chip Kelly, Harbaugh was somewhat lucky. His roster was relatively set, but I think he did some weird shit. You just kind of got to let the chef cook, right?
I agree. I agree with that.
So now it's very healthy if it's Trent Baalke saying Urban, because they worked him out. So let's say Trent's sitting there. In my however many years in the league, I've been to an unlimited amount of workouts. That's one of the worst workouts I've ever seen. If he's saying that, then if I'm Shad Khan, I go, listen, Urban, I think we should, this is a fair assessment here. But if it's like, listen, I don't really want it. And if it's coaches, like, I don't want to deal with the scrutiny. Like, I'm sorry, assistant coaches. You work for Urban Meyer.
I just hired you.
Yeah. To me, I this guy gets made fun of a lot. But if Baalke was like, this is crazy, we just watched him work out, I do think that would have a lot of validity. And that would diminish Urban. Like,
although
what are you doing?
Darlington said coaches, not Baalke, right?
Well, Baalke's smart enough. You can't be leaking. You're not into what Urban's doing this early into the tenure, right?
He's like, one of the assistants.
Trent Baalke already striped, looking for a new job.
Urban's going through the offices trying to figure out which assistant is leaking that they don't like the Tebow idea. But, yeah, I mean, look, he gets the chance to do what he wants to do. This is part of – and if he's right, if it works out, then he'll get a lot of credit. But
did Chip Kelly take a lot of shit early on in Philly for doing some bizarre things?
Yeah.
And not quite as crazy as this, but pretty bizarre.
Look, in the end, if Urban in 3 years is gone and Jacksonville has never been to the playoffs or whatever, like, this will be one of the things that comes up. It's like, remember, we should have known when he brought Tebow in. And if in 8 years the Jags have made 5 straight playoff runs, we'll be like, Urban has a vision. He's one of the best football coaches in the sport, and you got to let him do his thing.
I do think it's fair to go, this is a very, very unique relationship these two have. Whether it goes well or not, I know how, like, I do think it's fair to say it would be easy to connect it. I would say this situation is somewhat of a one-off. Whether he's going to be good or bad coach has nothing to do with Tebow.
Well,
what if Tebow's on the phone with him, guy begging for a shot, and he's like, God, this guy's like a kid to me. Who even cares?
Yeah, the workout is the shot. The workout is the shot.
Yeah, but then I'm in charge if I want to sign him or not also.
Okay, so let's just see. Like, did you bring a guy in who did you let your personal get in the way of really your first season?
We just need film of the workout so we can all have an opinion.
Well, I hope they do sign him, and then we can all really have an opinion.
That's what we need. If we had film of the workout, I actually think if you wanted to sign him and the workout went well, the smart thing would be to leak some clips. Like, look at this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe like a one-handed grab on the sideline.
I don't think it's a great sign that he hired a strength and conditioning coach. Public sentiment was negative. Had to get rid of him. The Tebow things leaks. We'll see how it plays out. But
I think one main issue you have that's clearly a lot different than college. Whatever the equivalent of this, if he was Ohio State or Florida, this guy would just be on the team. It would be over because he's in complete control. In the NFL, like, the league starts calling you kind of a clown. Like, what are you doing? Like, the pushback comes. Like, the strength coach, do you think Urban really wanted to fire him? Or the owner was like, no, we cannot do this.
No chance he wanted to fire him.
Zero
chance.
Urban's already learning this is a different beast than college, where in college basketball and definitely in football when you're as good as him, kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Until you get caught with, like, hookers and you're Rick Pitino, then you get fired.
Depending on how much you're winning, yeah.
Yeah. But Patino's winning a lot.
He was.